Story 1, TIFU by watching a horror movie while high. Let me tell you the tale of a 28-years-old woman who made a horrible mistake and is now scared of the dark. As the title says, Saturday night I was with my boyfriend and some friends and we decided to take some ecstasy. Everything was going great, we're laughing and having a good time, but at some point I don't really remember how or why someone decided to put on a horror movie. Now, this is not my first time using ecstasy, and I'm a horror movie enthusiast, so it didn't cross my mind that anything could go wrong. We watched the movie, which wasn't bad but didn't make any impression on me or so I thought, and at the early hours of the day we all merrily go home. Little did I know, this damn movie was ready to crawl back into my mind as soon as I got back to my apartment and was all alone for the night. In every dark corner, every time I closed my eyes, the monster from the movie was creeping up on me. As you might expect, that night I was too terrified to sleep and now, 3 days later, I have to sleep with a light on, sleepy music, a teddy bear and my dog in the room for protection. TLDR, I watched a horror movie while high on ecstasy and now I'm scared of the dark and have to sleep with the lights on. Supermarket Blues says, which movie was it? Spectral Colors 78 says, my friends and I watched Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer while on acid. It was a horrible idea. We kept watching it over and over. X2 for Craft says, you didn't FU by any means. What you've done is provide instructions for those who no longer get scared by horror movies, and for that we thank you, sir. A true innovator. Story 2, TIFU by yelling him free from my wife. A little backstory. I have random outburst, whether it's song lyrics, movie quotes, random noises, etc. Also my wife and I sleep in completely separate sides of the house. She's on one side, I'm on the other due to my snoring and am quite the cover hog. To the main point tonight, my wife asked me if I wanted to game so she can play on FB and interact with other people. So I'm chipping away at this boss for over an hour. I start getting sleepy. I get up, feed the dogs and for some reason the quote free at last popped into my head. Now normally my random outbursts never equal mucha laugh, a quick WTF? Or even just straight being ignored. Well, after I get the dogs settled and kiss her goodnight, turn her light off and start making my way to my side of the house, I have an outburst. I yelled free at last. I felt so bad when it dawned on me 30 seconds later that it seemed like I was saying that I'm free from her. I had to go back in there, get the dogs settled back down, and sincerely apologize. She was visibly upset but I held her close and told her she would never be free of me and I didn't mean it cause I had this movie quote in my head. TLDR, I fucked up by accidentally yelling out that I'm free as I walk away from my wife for the night. Big Poppy says, dude, you didn't post your age so no clue how old you are, but if you snore so loudly that you have to sleep in opposite sides of the house from your wife, you need to have a sleep study to test for sleep apnea. SA has been shown to have a detrimental effect on your heart and overall health. Alphan88 says, you are not my husband but mine would definitely do this. He has random outbursts as well. For some reason we yell pork chops and respond back with applesauce. After 15 years, I just roll with it. If mine had yelled I'm free, while walking away from me, I probably would have yelled back only when you die but I have a Ouija board so don't count on it. Jet Keel says, pretty sure I've seen a post like this from the wife's perspective on Baru where the husband snored a lot and refused treatment for it. Got so bad, she ended up leaving him and husband never really realized the impact. But, you know, I'm sure that was a one-time thing. Story 3, TIFU by not going to the toilet. This didn't happen today but about 18 months ago or so. About 13 months ago or so, I underwent a sleeve gastrectomy, which is where a surgeon cuts out the majority of your stomach so that you can't eat a lot anymore. It's for very obese people. This is a pretty big surgery, and they put you through a lot of tests before you're allowed to have it. One of these tests is a gastroscopy. That's when they sedate you and put a camera down your throat to look at your stomach. I was walking to the hospital when I realized that I had to have a big and long meeting on the toilet, but that wasn't anything new since I always had that urge whenever I got a bit nervous. Happens before every job interview so, I think, yeah, I can do that after the gastroscopy. I go into the room, lay down, and I get sedated. An instant later to me, I woke up and was ushered into a wake-up room since my gastroscopy was over, and they found no issues. I sat down in the wake-up room and waited. That's when I felt that my behind was very wet and muddy. If we rate the consistency on a scale of 1 to 5, in which a 1 is a stone and a 5 is pure water, I would rate it at 2.5. Imagine mashed potatoes. Naturally, I quickly jumped up from my seat, and lo and behold, my pants even left a wet stain on the chair. It wasn't very nice to see that. In the end, I walked to the nurse, told her what happened, and asked her where the toilet is. The nurse looked very weirdly at me and directed me to the toilet. I cleaned everything up as well as I could and went home. TLDR, didn't go to the toilet before a medical procedure that required sedation. Pooped pants. Please _go away 43 says, the usual scale is from 1 to 7 and is called the Bristol stool scale. When I had my emergency appendectomy, I woke up to a nurse wiping my butt. Don't worry about it, they've seen way worse. Negative post 7860 says, I remember when I was in labor with my first, and I needed to go to the toilet, so I asked my midwife and she told me, no, you don't need the toilet, it's just the pressure of the baby. Well, I did a really big poop. I was out of it at this point on gas and air and whatever other painkillers I was on. So my partner called the midwife back in to clean it, and she told him, well, why didn't you clean it up? To which he told her, you're the one who wouldn't believe her, so no, not my job. At which I just started laughing at her. TBH, she was a shit, pardon the pun. Midwife. Neutrino 71 says, Cleveland Steamer achievement unlocked, thanks for watching, I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.